Hey guys, it's summertime, and life is all about weekends, cookouts, and all things outdoors. And the JCPenney men's store is the place to go for some serious summer style, where shorts, tees, and swim trunks from brands like St. John's Bay, Dockers, and Izod go for a cool 40 to 50% off. And spend $25 or more with coupon on men's apparel, shoes, and accessories, and you get $10 off. We've got your look, your style, and a great price. The men's store at JCPenney. When it fits, you feel it. Coupon valid 5/28 to 5/31. Some exclusions apply. Check jcp.com now or your Thursday newspaper for coupon and details.
Giancarlo Stanton and the Miami Marlins travel to New York to face the Mets.
Rip right field towards the corner. Gone!
The pregame's at 3:30 Eastern, followed by first pitch at 4:30. Saturday on ESPN Radio. SVP and Russillo, the podcast.
Hey, it's SVP and Russillo. Appreciate you checking out the podcast. LeBron James did what he and only he, in our estimation, can do. Game 5. We talk about that and the Faustian bargain for David Blatt. It's story time with Sarah Walsh, Ryen's neighbor and SportsCenter anchor, stops by. So too to Rob Gronkowski and Odell Beckham Jr. together. Gronk later with an exclusive sit-down with our outsider Mike. Tinder tips. You don't want to miss that. My one big thing on what I think was much more a headline than a storyline involving Bobby Bowden and Jameis Winston. That I got something to say. Let me ask you a question. All part of the podcast, and it starts now.
Now, SVP and Russillo on ESPN Radio.
And ESPNRadio.com.
Not going to turn this into a months-long farewell tour, and I don't have the mental energy to just keep thinking about all your stuff, but I just want to one more time say, because for a day you've been telling us both how much this show's meant to you. I can't say it more sincerely. Thank you.
It's incredible, man. I mean, it's beyond anything. It's for me, and I don't have the followers that you have, like a few thousand in the span of 24 hours, it feels like. And other people are starting to – it's weird, man. It's weird how people are going, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys –
Hey, maybe that show really was popular. Yeah, it was. We tried to tell you. We really did. But for 24 hours, it has been a I'm not talking about a tweet here, a tweet there. I'm talking about you just could refresh your screen, and then by the time you got to the top, you had to refresh it again, and it just never ended. And you tweeted out something last night about,
Well, I had to say something. I just didn't know when I was going to do it,
But what did you say about we can act like it's not that big a deal, but it's your words, not mine.
Right. Everybody wants to be the tough guy that says, I don't care what anybody thinks, right? I mean, we all wish, and I know I've said it, and it's been a lie at times. Like, there's certain parts of my life and my personality that I don't care what anybody thinks, but there's a lot of stuff that I do care
You're
about.
fronting and stunting.
Yeah, right. So, whatever, man, I don't care about it. So, when it comes to this, and this is not acting, this is not being an athlete, but in a way, it's performance. I mean, you're out there, you're doing something. Right? Are you with me on that?
No question. And ultimately, it's you're even more out there because you are your brand. If people want to consume it, it's you they are choosing to consume. People can be anywhere they want from 1 to 4, and it is unbelievable. And overwhelming is the right word. I just sat on my couch and I just kept shaking my head and smiling at thankful.
Right. So yeah, that's what I said. To do this, you go. We do care what you think, and we appreciate it. So it's been awesome. Thank you.
More than we can say. And again, I could spend hours and days trying to catch up and say, just know it matters. And sincerely, thank you. So LeBron James is good at basketball. 38 points, 14 to 24, was phenomenal in the first half.
No turnovers.
He was psyched about that last night. The clean sheet, I guess you could call it. And when it comes to this guy, we had this conversation, you, me, Stanford, Steve, before the show starts. He's in all the ads. He's the guy we talk about. People try to come up with new ways to critique, criticize, praise, etc. But there's one reason why he's that guy, because he's the only guy like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the question we're at today, and there's a bunch of different ways to talk about this, because there's some stuff, if you want to knock LeBron, nobody's perfect. It can seem entitled. It can seem egotistical. He can come off as arrogant, but guess what? He's the best. So a lot of that stuff is okay.
What if you critique? If there's something that you don't love, what don't you love? Because
I think people crush him for being LeBron the GM. I think he gets absolutely crushed for that. And let's face it. I mean, he's basically the guy calling the shots. The way this Cleveland team was put together, And I think people have a really hard time accepting that, but I look at that as he can do it, and that's what we're dealing with in the NBA in 2015. And we'll have an offensive lineman that played at Colgate email the show and say, I'd never want that. And we're like, okay, but that was different for you, man. It was different, okay? This is LeBron James. So the critiques against it, like, do you have anything with him that you don't love, or are we wasting our time with this? Or
And the Cliff Notes are this. It seems like a lot of what is said is calculated because it's about his stated goal about wanting to be a brand and to be iconic. And when you want to be the face of a brand beyond an athlete and beyond being a player, then there's a lot that's said that feels scripted and rehearsed. I don't love that, but he's far from unique.
Do you blame him though for doing that? I'm with you on that, but I don't know that you can blame him because basically no matter what the guy says, you're just like, I remember there was a Cliff Lee. Remember when Cliff Lee signed with the Phillies and he turned down what was less money from the Yankees, but when you really looked at the numbers, it wasn't that much less money. But LeBron didn't know that, so a reporter goes to LeBron and goes, do you think you're the inspiration for Cliff Lee and other athletes to take less money because you took less money to go to Miami? It's a stupid question. But then LeBron's going, all right, yeah, I guess so. So, and then it turns into, how arrogant is LeBron? Like, listen to LeBron taking credit for Cliff Lee taking a discount. And I remember because I was working that night, and you just go, LeBron's going to get crushed for this, but is that his fault?
No, he exists when you're in a rarefied air and you exist on your own floor of the building, then clearly there'll be scrutiny that's different.
Okay, so if you look at what he did last night, and there's more to this than what he's allowed to do as a player and conducting everything with the franchise,
which you don't have a problem with.
I just don't. I'll say it again. Miami can sit there and say, we were not giving in. We were not going to do all those things. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the playoffs. I hope you've enjoyed
They didn't make playoffs.
Okay? Rose can't do it. Can Durant do it? Can Durant do what LeBron does?
He's close, but LeBron, we're talking about if he makes it, this is 5 finals in a row.
Not a lot of guys are doing that.
I mean,
ever.
We give Durant,
Russell, but
that's a different era and all. We give Durant credit, and deservedly so, for being part of that young nucleus that made it way ahead of schedule. But injuries and whatever else, it's still just that one. And I'm as big a Durant fan as there is, unless we're putting together a list, in which case I forget what position he plays, and then I leave him off, and then I say I'm going to put him on a different list later, but then don't. Outside of that, I mean, honestly?
It's not Chris Paul. Look, you know how much I love Chris Paul, but Chris Paul can't do that.
Of course not. He hadn't made the finals.
No, and Chris Paul plays a style of basketball where he's still dependent on other people to finish off the great looks that he gets them. So he's still perfect. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. But
your boy
Paul can't do it. Steph can't do it. Steph's great. James Harden can't do it.
No, I mean, listen.
There's one guy that really. I mean, it feels like, I don't think maybe this isn't that revealing to anybody, but it feels like there's one guy in the NBA. It's the guy last night that was awesome, 38 points.
And once again, though, seems to be this finite amount of energy that it reveals itself, particularly in the second half. He was flawless, which was the word you used to start the game, and that's accurate. And then it was just hang on for dear life because, again, this exhaustion factor kicks in with him, and he goes his power thing, that power pack goes from green to red, and it feels like it happens in the blink of an eye. And when he gets into the negative energy department, I mean, again, he was good defensively at the end, that big block, but just
they're up 17. It gets to 2. And you're going, wait a minute.
Butler hits that 3, and I start thinking, you're going to let them steal this game? Man, I couldn't believe it. I'll be honest, I mentally had checked out. I'm like, okay, we'll get ready for that Houston lock. I hope you guys reverse mortgage your grandma's house and put it on the money line like your boy told you. Just Steve told you, not even watching the game. Dock the boat. I mentally had moved on, and then all of a sudden I look at the screen and I go, wait a minute, that's 2. How'd that happen? But LeBron's 38-point night, it goes back to the question, is he the only guy? He's the only guy. He's the only shoulders broad enough to carry the load the way this guy does.
And I want to expand on this a little bit later, but when you look at how LeBron grew up in the NBA, expectations, you don't win the titles right away, you're getting crushed every single year, right, for what you haven't done yet. And then people start saying some crazy stuff like, oh, maybe this guy's not all that. Yeah, he put up numbers, but no big deal. Your style of play, it doesn't work. 4 finals in a row, 2 titles. I think it works.
He had a unique set of expectations put in front of him because of who he was perceived to be. So that's why that happened.
So he's at Cleveland, and he goes, maybe this isn't the perfect situation. And all I do is get beat up all the time anyway, so I'm going to do it on my terms. I'm going to go to Miami. We're going to put together this squad. We're going to go to 4 straight finals. All 4 years I'm there. We're going to win 2 titles. And guess what? We get housed by the Spurs. Wade doesn't show up to work all the time. I don't love some of the things that the owners have done and some of the stuff that they don't like about LeBron. That's fine. I get it. There's criticisms there.
Peace.
And he says, I'm going back to Cleveland, and I'm going to put together my group. Because you know what? All I do is get criticized when it goes wrong. So if it's going to go wrong, I might as well do it on my terms. And I think that has a lot to do with the way he grew up in this league, and all we do is talk about rings, 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 rings. You're nothing if you don't have those rings. He's like, all right, if I'm nothing, if I'm a loser, if I'm not capable of doing some things, and that's all I'm ever going to hear about, then all right, I will be the GM, and I will force my way out, and I will sign one-year contracts, and I will be in charge, unlike any other athlete we've seen in modern times. So in a way, he's a pioneer, and the big picture, I take all of it if I own an NBA team. I'll put up with all that stuff if last night is what I get in the playoffs.
And I will scratch plays at the end, and I will tell everybody that I'm not going to run what Black wanted me to run when he wanted me to inbound it with 1.5
tons of guys.
o'clock.
Right. You know, Ricky Davis probably told coaches I'm running something else. Are we going to get mad at LeBron for doing it?
I don't think Ricky articulated it. I think it was more just illustrated.
I got this.
Yeah. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. It was suggested yesterday that with this new SportsCenter show that I should have an old school Ricky Davis highlight nightly. Put that on the whiteboard along with the rest of the ideas.
SVP and Russillo.
Don't sweat the bench technique of Outsider Mike. It's SVP and Russillo, ESPN Radio, the new ESPN app, ESPN News until 2:30. Critical discussion, debate, raging at the moment. Could Outsider Mike throw 135 up? I say absolutely.
Definitely.
Okay, well, we know how to solve this, don't we?
Gym right across the way. Now, would you be willing to walk over there, or are you going to do the same bit you did with basketball where you whine and you won't do it, and then if you show up, you're going to be like, I don't know if I can, and then you don't do it, and then there's some excuse.
There's no whining. I always said I want to be able to always be able to bench my weight at least.
You weigh 135?
A little bit more, so that's why I figure I got some room to spare.
What are you, a model?
What do you weigh?
No, I weigh like about $170 or so.
Okay, well then we're gonna put we're gonna throw 170 on there, and now all of a sudden the odds have just really diminished because I don't think that's happening.
I don't think I could do 170 now, but I could do 135.
You just said you always wanted to bench your weight, and now you're trying to claim 135 as your weight, which is 35 pounds less than your weight.
I want a jet too, but I didn't fly it here.
Yeah, Pell.
Zinger! You said you think you could get 135 up, but it'd be the creaky, like, left arm low.
130. I mean, you should be able to get 135 up. My first instinct was no, because I'm just worried about you in general. I was worried about you a lot yesterday. You came in here like you had to pick a parent to move in with, you know?
It's not a divorce, man. Everything's going to be fine.
We're going to be better off. We still love each other, Mike, but we just are better off.
We'll still see each other.
All right, 135.
2 Christmases.
Yeah, just think about that. Presents at 2 places. You have to really figure out the eating though, because you don't want to offend somebody. You want to take a no thank you bite of some of the stuff at each. Otherwise, the second dinner you won't be able to eat, and then someone's going to be messed up. And then your 12-year-old Scout going, do you know how much food I have to eat on holidays? For crying out loud!
Want to lie down?
Nope, things are good. So we sorted it out. I pitched one fit, and everybody realized this is kind of a big ask of a kid. Maybe he shouldn't have to eat that much. So about David Blatt, this is two segments, 2 gigantic left turns. I have said about Coach Cal at Kentucky, about Saban at Alabama, among others, but specific to those 2, that I think that there's got to be such a high stress level to existing in places where, with Alabama football and Kentucky basketball, there is only that. There are other things that are going on. There's only that. It matters more than it ought to those folks. And at Kentucky, you psyched about the year you had, or does it feel like a failure because 38-1 is not 40-0? At Alabama, hey, you made the playoff, cool, had a lead, lost it to Ohio State. Was last year a success or a failure? But that led to this thought and conversation about...
I want to start there, though.
Okay.
I want to start there because I think you and I just fundamentally disagree about, yes, it's annoying, but it shouldn't be a deciding factor in whether or not you want to stay with a job. If the Kentucky fan comes up to you at 38-1 and says, tough one, like Cal told us about the year they went to the Final Four and said, tough one, then that's just a person that isn't reasonable no matter what.
But that's all. You're the president of Big Blue Nation.
Right,
You know your constituents. None of them are reasonable.
Do you think guys like Cal and Saban that have been programmed the way they are to be as successful as they've been, as annoying as it can be, and as much as Saban can hate those local media availability things during the week,
and he hates them,
right? But that he's going to go, I'm just out of here, because then they would have left already, and Saban would have left already. Like you can't claim that if Saban leaves after 10 years, you can't claim it as I knew it because Tuscaloosa was too annoying.
Oh, I'll claim it. You know me. I'll say, huh? Remember? Like when in 2009, Van Pelt? Yep. I understand.
If I said it every year, I knew eventually he'd have to leave.
I understand your point, and my point is not that it's that you leave at the first sight of it. You walk into that with your eyes wide open. You know what you're going to deal with to a degree. But what you think you're going to deal with, and then what it really is, it's exponentially more than you can ever imagine. And both guys have said as much and have said basically that to us in one way or another. So when I look at Cal and I go, at one of these points, is he going to go back to the NBA? I could absolutely see that. I have heard nothing definitive, and I'm not reporting it as such. If it happened, I'd say it doesn't shock me because there's only one thing that's satisfactory there. So I understand your point. And look, those guys are paid, and you're at destination jobs. You're at the top of the food chain in both sports. You can't do better.
And that's why I don't think anybody would want it any other way. Yeah, it's really annoying. And so I'm with you there, but I never would imagine that being the deciding factor. Going, you know what? Expectations are just a little too high here. Let me go somewhere easy. Because anywhere else where expectations exist, so if Saban went to Texas, do you think Austin, even though Austin is different than Tuscaloosa, do you think Austin would be going, let's just take it easy on old Nick? Maybe year 3 we'll start to put a little pressure on him. Of course not. So now it takes us to Blatt. A lot of stories about Blatt leaving Israel, leaving the family, switching over to the NBA, being doubted initially because that's what was going to happen no matter what. And the fact that you're paired with LeBron, it's just the deal. LeBron's the star with LeBron, brings all that expectation, so you say, man, was this worth it? And I think all of those things are fair to realize about the challenges of the job. But I'd rather be Blatt in that spot with LeBron than go, I guess I could just hang out on old sleepy Sacramento, although the shelf life for a coach there is about 4 months. So what I'm asking you is, are there any jobs that exist? Is there a job for Blatt where you could go to feel like you can still succeed and not have any of that pressure? And I really don't think that there are many jobs like that, if any, really.
Listen, there's a term, a Faustian bargain, a deal with the devil. I mean, it's what are you willing to trade to get something back? If you're Blatt and you get to leave Israel and you get to come coach in the NBA and you get to have LeBron James, and what the deal is that you're going to get to hitch your wagon to the guy that we both said is the one guy who can do what he's doing right now. And if you win, people will probably look at you like a guy that was just in the car on the ride, not the guy driving it. Are you willing to make that Faustian bargain? I bet you are. I bet you.
Would you rather be Tim Floyd? Hey, Tim, you're coaching the Bulls, but we're starting with a new roster.
Of course not.
Right?
No.
So it's
the same job, only it's not. The job is defined as a coach by who you have to trot out there for the jump ball. And so I don't think I don't think that Blatt would rather be the coach of the Sacramento Kings. The point you were making before, I don't believe he'd prefer
You'll
that.
You'll get more credit if you turn it around. It's like all of that stuff seems
41 and 41.
Right.
You're the 8th seed and you make it, and then you get swept. No, of course not.
Would you rather be Brad Stevens than Blatt?
See, now you're asking an interesting question. Would I rather be him in Boston? Boston versus Cleveland. Nice areas, great golf. I'm thinking of quality of life. Cleveland, Rust Belt.
How about the stuff that's relevant to the discussion?
No, Rust Belt culture, technology, smart people. I mean, I'm thinking about the things that matter here, man. No, man, I'd rather coach LeBron James and all that comes with it, good and bad. And so would you.
I agree. I think it's a good question, though, because I think a lot of people will go, well, what you're doing is you're saying yes to the idea of what the Celtics job could be and what Brad Stevens could be, because everybody loves Brad Stevens right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take LeBron while you figure out the rest of your roster.
Do you think that what Cal and what Saban and we could keep going?
Think about it. Rick is fired almost every year out of Georgia. Okay,
yeah, and look at his record.
And LSU, we've talked about the Miles thing forever, but for a stretch, post-title, it's like, I don't know about this guy. I mean, we've told that story a million times.
Do you think that Blatt deals with on a daily basis anything along the lines that those other guys do? Because I don't. I don't think it's close.
I just think it's different because the college attachment is different because I think college fans feel like they're more a part of the program than anyone can with a pro franchise.
And it's basically all that there is for those folks.
Right. LSU's a little different because you still have New Orleans, you still have the Saints.
Yeah, Lexington's got some stuff going on as well.
You don't.
No, T-Town is that, and only that.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
SVP and Russillo.
World famous SportsCenter anchor Sarah Walsh joins us in studio, and apparently things are about to get super duper awkward. Is that an accurate way of describing it?
Potentially.
I would say so. Yeah, this could be really awkward.
In what way?
Well, we're neighbors, as everybody knows, and I've had to come to the rescue, and we spent a lot of time. Like I've been talking about potentially moving,
which I don't want to happen.
Right, and I selfishly, I don't want to not be best friends with your husband Matt anymore, and
because you don't have like a long roster to go to.
I have one friend. I have you for 6 months and him for like 5. That's about it. So we rotate. So here's the thing. This story, we've never told this story before, and it's not going to get as creepy as it seems to start off with.
No, it's creepy. But it's awesome. I think it's my favorite Russillo story. And a lot of people like the break-in burglar story at my house.
Hey, what do we got here? The famous what do we have?
Yeah.
What do we got here?
Yeah, I think this is way better.
Okay. All right. So Matt has a sister named Sarah, and he's Matt Bushman, and her name, obviously, would be Sarah Bushman.
Same middle name. We have literally the exact same name.
Sarah Walsh, now married, is known as Sarah Bushman, but not in entertainment circles, right?
Not in the entertainment world, no. That would be correct.
Okay, so we're all going out to the Rose Bowl this previous Rose Bowl,
yes.
Oregon, Florida State. You're working, I'm just going out there, and Matt's out there as well. And just like a week or two before I'm ready to leave, and I'm already booked and ready to go, shockingly, I know to everyone listening on the show.
That's never happened once in the history of Russillo.
I get an email at 2:30 in the morning from Sarah Bushman, and I'm going, that's weird. Why is Matt's sister emailing me? I've met her once or twice, the wedding, and then she stayed up here, and she's young.
We've all gone out.
Right,
she's young.
Right. She went to school at Alabama. I think she was in school at this time, and I'm like, dude, my best friend's sister's emailing me at 2:30 in the morning? Like, this is kind of weird. So then it goes, please go Rose Bowl. The Ducks and Matt need you. So I'm assuming that this is Matt's sister telling me at 2:30 in the morning that I need to go to meet up with everybody.
Well, here's the thing.
I freaked.
Yeah. I want Ryan to go because I'm working the Rose Bowl, and they're, best friends, and they hang out more than I hang out with either one of them. So I'm thinking if I'm working all week, if he's got his little sidekick, the two of them can be off together. They're entertained, and I'll work.
Just so you know, him as the little sidekick's not what you want to call him. That's not what he aspires to be. Just so you know.
Either one of us. But so I'm sitting here thinking, this is perfect. They can hang out, and I'll work. And so
I'm thinking my best friend's sister's hitting on me at 2:30 in the morning via email.
And the best part is, so he blows me off.
Right.
And, we had talked about going out there, and so he's being real evasive to me. And then at one point he's like, I don't know if I have to do a show. And I'm thinking, what do you mean you don't know if you have to do a show? I know you know if you have to do a show because I work there, and I know if I have to do a SportsCenter tomorrow. And he's like, I don't know. And I'm even saying to Matt, I'm like, Brian's being really weird. I thought he was coming out. He's blowing me off.
Yeah, vague, don't know, not sure, haven't booked, lots to do. Those are the answers.
And I'm getting annoyed. So I'm sort of like, if this is the sister, she's sort of aggressive because I'm like, that's not good enough. What are you talking about?
Okay, so fast forward to we go to the Rose Bowl. It never comes up. I don't want to say anything to you. I don't want to say anything to Matt.
Would he be mad?
I don't care. I just don't want any, let me say that differently. I don't know if he'd be mad or not, but I don't, that wasn't my concern. I'm just going, well, look, this is odd, and I'm just going to let it go. And months go by, and I get another email from Sarah Bushman. And this time I actually look at who it's from, and your email address doesn't say Sarah Bushman. It just is titled that way, and it's Sarah Walsh. So months had gone by. Months.
Yeah.
Maybe almost a year. Well, look, it's been, I don't know, how long? 6 months? 6 months or so.
It's like a Three's Company episode where there's just
it really
a
is.
misunderstanding.
He tells me one day, he goes, hey, I have to confess something to you. that happened, and he's like nervous and awkward, and I'm thinking
which is
like
never.
yeah,
so
and I'm like,
obvious.
what's going on? And he goes, I literally for months have been thinking that Matt's sister is emailing me and she like wants to like hook up with me or whatever. And I'm like, what? Yeah, well, so, no, but that's what he was, like, all weird, and that's why he was so weird about it. And I'm like, why wouldn't you come to me and tell me this? He's like, because I was so freaked out, and I didn't want to tell him that. And then even last night, I go, thinking about it, I'm like, well, didn't, when we got to the Rose Bowl, all of us, and she wasn't there, I go, did you not think that was, like, kind of weird? Like, where was she? And he's like, wait, this is the best part. He goes, I thought she thought I wasn't coming and didn't want to go if I wasn't going to be there.
But you understand why he would naturally think anybody would be.
Okay, here we go.
I mean, you'd understand that.
I just can't. Well, I never changed my email, so that's where I was confused. Like, what happened is I got the new iPhone, and somehow when you like link it up, and I'm technologically illiterate,
and
so
Apple's
I
determined
never
to just sell out everyone.
So it was. I never changed my email, so to me, it would have never occurred to me why it was messing him up. But it was like for some reason when you got the new iPhone and linked it. It for some reason was sending like this other like legal name to him.
Sarah Walsh is in studio with us. Her husband Matt Bushman is Ryan's best friend. When Bushman comes back here, is he more excited to see you or Russillo?
Ryan. He never. I don't see him for like very very long stretches of time. He was randomly home for one day like last week, and Ryan comes over and then he gets up off the couch. And this is like the only day in like 8 months that I'll see him at this home. And so of course Ryan comes over for a special dinner, the three of us. And then
Did Ryan cook? Because he's quite a cook.
No, he didn't. You never cook for me. You do bring me things a lot. Like you bring me like.
I'm a good gift guy.
Yeah, he does. He's a really good neighbor. And but then he gets up off the couch to leave and he goes, all right, so Matt, what are we doing tomorrow? And he's like, and I don't mean Sarah's included.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys got your day, and then Matt and I were supposed to have a day, and guess what? We didn't even have one. So
why didn't you have your day?
Because I kind of backed off. I mean, he does pitch for the Durham Bulls, so he's not around a lot, which is basically never. And he was in Pawtucket, so he got an off day, so he was able to come back.
But you guys wanted to go to the mall together. That's what they do. They go to the mall together, like seventh grade girls.
But to be fair, isn't Carissa Thompson, who used to work here, who now works about 18 different jobs, Fox, and which one of the? I don't watch the entertainment shows. Forgive me.
Extra.
I'm sorry, Carissa. I know it's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Your relationship with her is the same as him.
It is. So,
she's your best friend.
Yeah,
you don't care about your husband.
No, the tables turn. So, like, for a while, it was me, Carissa, and he was the odd man out before I let him be friends with Ryan before those two met. And then Carissa left me, and now I'm the odd man out. And it occurs to me, I'm like, this is how he felt. Like, I don't care what they're talking about. The stuff they talk about is so ridiculous. And I'm like, that's how he must have felt when Chris and I were on the couch talking about the nonsense we talk about. However, I will say this. I think it shows, like, Ryan deep down, despite his persona. Like, he's a really good guy because he was.
So what does that mean?
Well, like, I don't know. You're kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're
cool.
You're the cool guy, right?
That's enough.
But like he was genuinely like worried and like uncomfortable, and like he still never told Matt, which now we're telling this on the radio because he was so awkward and uncomfortable.
Well, now everybody knows.
Yeah, good guy deep down.
Yeah. See, he wouldn't fire on someone's sister.
He did tell me, too, last night. This story, like, they're like little pieces. He did tell me last night when I was like, why would you think she would hit on you? He goes, well, she did ask me to dance at the wedding, like, first dance. and I like, blew her off, so I felt bad about that.
I didn't blow her off. Somebody else had
he got intercepted.
That I was going to be the first dance, so. Anyway.
Scott.
You guys have anything else to cover here?
Nope.
You're a really good neighbor. I don't want you to move.
I think you should buy a giant house on the hill.
And listen, I think you should buy a massive house that we can just all move to. And
now we're talking.
Yeah, and if you did marry Matt's sister, then you guys would be brothers.
Every holiday together.
I'm gonna email her back right now.
You get on that. I'll let everybody know we're presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest join the Subway First Take Hotline. Sarah, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks. First time in studio with you guys. Probably the last.
Nope.
No way.
No way. They're kicking me out of here and he'll be in here. You'd probably be in here a lot.
It's time for Scott Van Pelt's One Big Thing. One Big Thing. On ESPN Radio and ESPNradio.com.
We talked often on this show about the notion of a headline or a storyline. You see something and you say, wow, that catches your eye, right? There it is. It's a headline. Is there a storyline to it? Well, this certainly qualifies as a headline, and I saw it yesterday afternoon right as our show was ending. Bobby Bowden, who has such a folksy way about him when he's talking, said this, and this is what I read. I think it's a consensus among Florida State fans and boosters, speaking of Jameis Winston, that he was an embarrassment in a lot of ways to the university. Wow. Bowden, there's a statue of the guy, man. He's talking about a guy that just won a statue, and it reads like quite a headline, quite a storyline. But then, before I went over to the gym to get swole, check me out, I heard it on Levitard, and that changed it. Here's Bowden, on with Feinbaum.
I think it's a consensus among Florida State fans and boosters that he was an embarrassment in a lot of ways to the university. He won a lot of ball games, probably one of the best football players that ever attended Florida State, but he hurt himself off the field. And the good news is he's young enough to get over that. He just can't make those junior high school decisions that he made when he was in college.
So I heard it, and as Levitard and Stugat said, it softens the impact. It gives more context than just that line. My first thought is, again, Bobby's folksy, and he's older, and he's got that grandfatherly way about him, and I don't think that he's wrong, because there are enough Florida State fans you talk to that I think it was embarrassing, but speaking of the Faustian bargain, you'd take it for what they've been the last couple of years. But I also think, given the history of what went on his watch at Florida State, it shows some moxie to go ahead and say that.
That was the first thing I thought of, but I do think it's a pretty good example of in print. You're like, man, he's really going after this guy. But if you think about it, embarrassing on the low end of things is probably the best way to describe it for Florida State. I mean, again, I always get back to the Winston thing, the sexual storyline, in that I don't know. I don't feel comfortable completely clearing him of it, but I also don't feel even remotely comfortable saying I know this guy's a bad guy because something bad happened. So I just kind of look at that story and go, I don't know what to make of it. So with Winston, to look at some of the other dumber stuff, you're like, yeah, that is kind of embarrassing. This is the face of your program at that time. He wins the Heisman, he wins the title, but man, clean it up. And when you start to become that star of college football, no one wants to hear about how young you are, even though everybody was just as silly in certain regards when you're younger. I mean, the rules are just different for you. You have that exposure. But with Bowden, I mean, that's some convenient math on this, because, I mean, it's not like he was great, he was successful, but you're going to be around long enough at a high-profile football program, there's going to be some stuff you probably wish hadn't happened on your watch, and Bowden has some of that stuff.
Well, I mean, to this day, the joke will still be made about Florida State that the FSU stands for Free Shoes University. The old ball coach referenced that. Well, and I mean, I think if you're an adult and you understand the way business is conducted, real life, at these high-level universities, that if you're wearing white shoes, man, and you're going to be in this game for that long, there's no way they're clean by the time you get to the end of your walk. No way. So to say that it was an embarrassment to the university, he can be right, and I think he is. But you've got a mirror in your house somewhere, Bobby. When you look at it, were there things that were done on your watch that players that made mistakes and things you were willing to excuse and willing to live with to keep your place in the top five, where you resided for as long a run as anybody in what I would call the modern era?
And as we're talking about this now, too, I'm thinking, okay, well, wait a minute. What are we asking here, then? Are we saying Bowden was wrong because Bowden – and I just don't have – more and more I do this job and think about college athletics, the less of a problem I have when I hear about programs living in that gray area with players. I'm sorry.
Because it's a crowded neighborhood, man.
I'm not offended by it, and I haven't been for a while, and I'm less offended by it every single year. So does that mean that Bowden then can't say what is basically accurate, that Jameis did some stuff in Tallahassee where you go, doesn't make us look great, doesn't make the police force down there look great. And, of course, I know that ends up being all of our faults at ESPN if you listen to the head coach Jimbo. But
that's convenient math, too.
I don't want to dismiss Bowden and say, well, he's wrong, because I think we all agree. And I know what you're saying because of stuff that's happened in the past, but it doesn't mean that he can't be right about something, too.
And that's when we often on this show will say, is it this or that? And you'll get exasperated and say it's both. And
because every show wants to make it a this or that. They want you take this side, you take that side, and every time the answer is it's part of both things are right.
And I think that as I look at this Google search, Bowden, Florida State, I see Bowden, Jameis Winston, embarrassment. Makes for a hell of a headline, doesn't it? And that's what your eyes go to. But then you hear it in its context, and you hear something that feels reasonable. I think he's saying things that are reasonable. So it can be that. And at the same time, when you did things that themselves did not honor the university, that people could ask, is that a message that you ought to be delivering? And so that where we end up with is that it's probably both, isn't it?
Yes.
So I have no major beef here.
Beef.
It's a headline.
Clear.
Squash the beef. Headline. Storyline is.
Major League Baseball on ESPN Radio. This season, the Mets have been a tale of two teams. One of the league's best at home and one of the worst on the road.
Towards the corner.
This weekend, they'll be at home at Citi Field facing the Marlins. Will their home field domination continue, or will Giancarlo Stanton lead Miami to a road win? The Mets and Marlins. The pregame's at 3:30 Eastern, followed by the first pitch at 4:30. Saturday on ESPN Radio and the new ESPN app. SVP and Russillo.
Rob Gronkowski, Odell Beckham Jr., finalists for the Madden NFL 16 cover vote. Vote now at ESPN.com. Madden vote. Be sure to tune in tonight, 6 Eastern Sports Center. One of these two will be revealed as the cover athlete. Live, fellas, good to see you guys again. You guys coming with a squad of folks. Rob, you've been in the spotlight for so long, and we've seen you enjoy it, and I don't blame you. Odell, I want to start with you just because we were just talking off air. It's relatively new to you, and we talked last year after that catch against Dallas how life just exploded. Since then, what's the most surreal experience you found yourself in where you're looking around with you, your family, your friends, whoever, and you just think, how in did I get here?
I think it's the most recent thing I've been to, which was the Met Gala in New York, and I'm there with anybody you can imagine.
I saw all the pictures.
Anna Wintour and all of her guests, and just to even, be an athlete and be honored over there and just invited to that, life's just never been the same since that moment. But taking it all in and definitely enjoying it all.
Do you freak out when somebody comes up to you, whoever it is, Jay-Z, whomever, and they know you? They're psyched to meet you.
Right. It's crazy to me because it's like I've been wanting to meet them all my life, and then they know who I am now, and they want to meet me, and they want to do lunch or whatever it may be. So life is definitely, taking a turn.
What's up, Rob?
What's good? How you doing?
You having fun this off season?
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, let's start with you. What's it like being you in the off season after winning a Super Bowl? Because I've noticed that the off season still has been okay in the past. How different is it this year?
It's a lot different. I mean, what's more special about this year is coming in and actually being healthy this off season. So, kind of just going around, traveling how I like to travel, and I'm so big into playing sports wherever I am. So, as an athlete, I just love to go shoot hoops wherever I'm doing, play some volleyball wherever I am. Going out to the beach, playing some volleyball, enjoying yourself too at the same time. So it's just been a blast this offseason, traveling around everywhere and just having some fun with it.
When you lined up against KJ Wright in the Super Bowl, the linebacker, number 50 for Seattle, and everyone on TV or in the arena is going, they're going to throw it to Gronk, and you're out wide. And you how soon did you know that was 6? When you break the huddle?
We called the play, and we were practicing that all week. And
did you know Wright would be on you?
No, you don't know who's going to be on you until you go out there. But when I saw Wright out on me, and I just know when Brady's coming to you. You just have the feeling. I just had the feeling that he was coming to me no matter what, and if I didn't get open, that the play wasn't going to be complete because I knew he was going to throw it no matter what. So I just went out there, just made a little move, and Tom just put the ball where it needed to be. I just made the catch, and it went for 6, and it was just a good play overall.
Speaking of Tom, I imagine this morning everywhere you've been on, I know you've been on here, Sports Center, etc. Obviously, there's questions about the situation with the footballs and him being suspended or whatever else. You've talked to him or your teammates. What's been the reaction among your camp?
Literally, the reaction's been the same just every single week. I mean, just going into work, just going in and doing what I got to do to prepare myself. It's not like I'm going to go in and change my routine differently because of what's going on right now. No, I'm just going in the weight room, running routes.
Right, but are you guys mad? Are you guys mad about this, though? Because it feels like your guys being, made out to be the villain in this.
I mean, it is what it is right now, but, I mean, we can't really get mad because over it as of right now. I mean, Tom's doing his thing where he's pleading back against it, so hopefully the 4-game suspension gets reduction or whatever, and maybe he'll get no game suspension. We'll see how it all goes, but really just got to keep doing what I got to do and focus on myself and how I can prepare myself to get better for next season.
Rob Gronkowski, Odell Beckham Jr. with us, the 6 Eastern Sports Center. One of these guys is going to be the cover athlete of Madden. Everybody grew up playing it. Everyone complains about something as it relates to their rating. Are you mad about your speed? That's the thing everyone's always mad. You're mad about your speed, right?
Absolutely.
What do they have you at?
They had me at a 93 speed. I think it could have been a little higher. Maybe at least it's a difference between 93 and a 94 in the game. It's crazy. It's only a boost of 1, but I think that's always been the biggest thing. And actually, I remember last year during rookie premiere, they were revealing the stats, and they showed me the catching rating, and I think my catching was at like an 82 or something like that.
That better be 99 after last year.
Right, I would hope so. So I just told him I was kind of disappointed, and I said I'm just going to make it a point to prove you wrong. So still trying to get that speed boosted up, though.
Everyone cries about their speed.
And one of the things that we had heard about is you might have been in FIFA because we have our guys down at LSU, down at Baton Rouge, that give us the dirt on everything that's going on. But was there a story actually with Jarvis Landry, the other receiver, talked you out of playing soccer?
It happened a lot when I was a lot younger, actually. When I was about 13 years old, they wanted me to try out for the national team and stuff like that. And my coach was from where was he from? Brazil or some other country? Yeah, south.
Of here.
Say south of here. And he wanted me to try out for the team. And just at 13 years old, you can't really to be in FIFA. Really, you've got to be overseas. And to be 13 years old, I couldn't really think about leaving my mom and my dad and just leaving this country to go for something that I don't know what's going to happen with it. But sometimes I look back and wish I would have pursued that dream. When I watch Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo and score goals, and I'm playing FIFA. Like, FIFA's my favorite game. So it was my first love. I played when I was 3 years old. So
well, if you're the cover guy, you should find a way to have a cheat to have you in FIFA. That's what you should tell them if you win this thing.
I think there's an unlock mode or something like that. That'd be great.
Hey, look like you got enough of a crew here. Somebody knows something. You can get something done with that game.
Gronk, people always seem to want to ask you about your dating situation. Do you think that's out of just curiosity, jealousy? Because there's always these rumors, man, and I try to text you, and you don't always get back to me about the girl rumors, which I totally understand because I'm in the media. But what do you think the fascination is with what's going on with you?
Hey, actually, I do get that question a lot, and people tend to ask me on, like, more after an interview or something. But personally, I know a lot of things, like whatever I do could be out there, could make a headline or something. But I just like to keep my personal life to myself. Just, just it's better that way, just, so you.
But there's nothing you do. There's nothing you do. Like, if you're at a Clipper game and you're dancing on the Jumbotron or you're out in Vegas, like, I don't. It's one thing to enjoy life, and I endorse that. Enjoy it. But it's hard when every step you seem to make, there's somebody that wants to try to follow you and document it.
Oh, yeah. In that case, yes. I mean, I know when we're going on the Jumbotron at the Clippers game, that's going to be everywhere. But that's just fun about it, just going in the Jumbotron. Actually, we got booed twice on my family because we didn't dance the first 2 times. It was the dance cam, and the whole place was booing. So it came.
You had to let them have it.
Well, you guys
delivered. Yeah, we delivered the 3rd time, and then the place went wild. That's fun. That's fun doing stuff like that. That's just having a good time.
I love, though, and I don't care about the dating thing at all. I thought it was just kind of funny because you get asked it all the time. But that you have it ready. Like, this is an adult Gronk that we're hearing from, that you're like, I'm just going to keep that in this box over here, even though, as Scott points out, that'll be impossible. But I like where you're trying to go with this.
I keep trying to keep that part of my life personal, like in my own box over there. But but anything else, my dancing, man, I don't really care if anyone ever sees me dancing. I mean, who cares?
Right. You love to dance.
Dancing keeps you in shape.
Right.
When life changes for you, Odell, and we talk about the Met and the people that you know and the circles you travel in New York City, how do you learn to live with the spotlight that's on you? And especially in this age, man, where I've said this 100 times. I'm so glad I was young before everyone had a phone trying to get in your face, because you're just living and you almost can't.
Yeah, it's like you're under a microscope, and like just like Gronk, I like to dance. I like to.
Do you?
I'm a little bit, but I'm in my house. I'm dancing all day, 24/7. You can ask anybody who knows me. Like, I'm in the locker room dancing. It's sad that when you go somewhere else in public, the things that you thought you could do and just being yourself is not maybe not acceptable in every single case. So just learning how to roll with that and still find a way to be yourself. That's why I respect so much like what he does. Like he's gonna be himself regardless. He's gonna do what he does, and not so much not care what anybody thinks, but he's gonna live the life he wanted to live.
Ryan and I love Baton Rouge. Been down there a ton. It's a cool place, but it's not New York City. There's nothing that's like New York. How would you try to prepare someone that doesn't get what New York is for what New York is?
Get ready for it. I know that when I first came there, everything was great, and then I pulled my hamstring, and I remember I couldn't catch a break for months. I think it was like 4 months I was out. It just kept pulling. I felt pressure to get on the field. I was the number one pick for them, and it seemed like everybody was relying on me, and nobody knew like how bad I really wanted to be on the field, because I still tried to go about my normal day, not walking around the locker room moping. I wanted to have a smile on my face because that's just how I am. That's the type of person I am. But at the end of the day, they didn't want to see that. They didn't want to see me still happy and me not playing. They thought I was just taking it as a joke, and I don't think anybody really fully understood, how bad I wanted to be on the field.
Yeah, but you got a chance to let them know by the time the season was over. So that worked out all right.
I've noticed that with Gronk, you and Edelman and Amendola, that is a tight crew. Like you guys,
Derby style.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the Derby, the outfits, and I'm going to grow my hair back out after I saw what Amendola did with his. So I'm not there yet, but I'm excited about the future. What's going on? Like, what's that day like?
Actually, I never been to a Kentucky Derby before, so Tom actually invited us, which was pretty cool. And us three went along with him, and it was a blast. I mean, I never really experienced anything like that. It was a different scene to go bet on horses.
And you weren't on the plane though to Vegas for the fight with him, because did you do the double bill? Did you do both?
Yes, I went to the fight too with everyone. It was just a blast overall that weekend, and it was so much fun. And definitely going to the fight too. I never experienced. There's two new things I experienced in my life: going to a fight and the Kentucky Derby. So it was awesome.
How was Sunday morning?
It was rough, but I was still up, so it was good.
Kids, just plow on through the night into the morning.
Determination.
Once the sun comes up in Vegas, you just got to figure out how to plow through to the next day. Reminder to vote, ESPN.com. It's the Madden vote. You can vote now. Tune in to SportsCenter 6 Eastern to see the winner revealed between these two guys. We appreciate you, fellas. Stay healthy. Good luck next year. All right, thanks for stopping by.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
SVP and Russillo.
I'm getting text messages of support from people whose opinion matter, saying Cap's going to be all right tonight. I said I'm scarred and I'm afraid, and I'm a bandwagon guy. So don't get all wound up over me. And this isn't the Terps. This isn't like how much those games stress me out.
You want some bad news?
Not particularly, but I'm sitting here and
I'll try this anyway. I think I have bet 3 series in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The previous 2 have gone to Game 7s, and I lost both.
So what you're telling me is you're mush from a Bronx town?
No.
Well,
this is going to be the turn.
Oh, okay, because Mush lost them all. This is where it turns?
Turn to worm, baby.
You can't lose them all, right? I mean,
the Rangers has never lost one at home.
Cool. So you can't win a Game 7. The Rangers don't lose them. All the Caps do ever is build 3-1 leads, and Charlie Brown, nothing worse than getting Charlie Brown. You're running out. We're going to kick the football. Less than 2 minutes left. Going to win Game 5.
If it makes you feel better, I'm a Rangers fan, and I'm nervous because everything is pointing for the Rangers to win.
How 1 to 10 Rangers fan, what would you describe yourself as?
Like a quarter, maybe.
Quarters. Well, what number is a quarter? So you give me 2.5?
Yeah, it's like we're in fractions.
You're a fractional Rangers
I'm a fractional fan. I'm like you. Turn on during the playoffs.
You're not like me. You're a big star, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I've never done? Sat down with Gronk for an exclusive. So, was this Russillo's idea? Had to be.
All Russillo's idea.
Yeah, I originally wanted Gronk to body slam outsider.
So
nobody liked that one.
So not surprisingly, Stanford Steve's wish was for physical violence to be imparted on outsider Mike, where it was Russillo's idea that his boy Gronk, who, remember, Gronk told us all something very, very important to remember.
Power naps are crucial if you want to keep the body going, if you want to keep the mind straight.
Power naps. So he's already given us that nugget of wisdom. Power naps are crucial. What advice did he give Outsider Mike when those two titans of industry sat down to commiserate? Do you introduce the segment?
Oh, yeah, I think it's all self-contained.
Good. SportsCenter will definitely be using this later. Somebody let McKendry know that this needs to run pronto.
Outsider Mike here with Rob Gronkowski. And Rob, you're pretty much the guy I would go to for some dating advice. And right now it's like feast or famine for me on Tinder. Have you used Tinder at all recently?
I haven't used it recently, but I used it once in the locker room with our teammates, and no one believed it was me. So, like, it was fun, though. I was writing messages. We were all laughing. It was during training camp. We all needed a good laugh, so we had a blast. But, I mean, you should be killing it on Tinder, right?
Well, see, that's the problem, too. We're both celebrities, kind of. You know, maybe people may not recognize you. How do you approach the chicks? And, like, when you know you're a celebrity, but maybe they don't, follow the Patriots, they don't follow ESPN or whatever.
Man, I mean, I think every lady should know who you are. Are you sure you know? I think your problem is you're a little too picky. You got to hit the swipe right button for every single one. And then when
kind of get the ball rolling.
Swipe right, get the ball rolling, you start talking to one. And also use the pickup lines they give you. Like type in pickup lines on Tinder, use those lines. I'm telling you, you can't be serious. You got to write, it's Tinder. You got to write something crazy. Like, I don't know, like.
You got one?
I got some. I mean, not too crazy. Like, hey, do you work out? Because I'm ripped, I'm jacked, and then send them a picture with your shirt off, or something like that, and they'll be like, whoa, this guy's serious. I like him.
Yeah. All right. I'll have to give those a try.
Something that will throw him off. You don't want to be serious at all.
I got it. All right. That's Rob and Outsider Mike with Tinder tips.
Okay. So what just happened there is that two famous dudes sat down to talk about Tinder, and Gronkowski was on it. Can you imagine the circus of him on Tinder?
Oh, my gosh.
Ronda Rousey was saying the other day she can't be on there because she's too famous. Obviously, Gronkowski can't be on there. I think your fame is the perfect level of fame where you're famous enough that it could be interesting, but you're not so famous that people are going to, news outlets are going to pick up, hey, look at this guy firing on everybody that's, from Brockton, Mass. To Atlantic City, New Jersey.
My level of fame is right there for Tinder.
I think it's perfect. But he wants you to go shirts off and go crazy talk. He wants you to swipe right for everybody.
Everyone. Just get the ball rolling.
I'm a big believer in life that you want to cast as wide a net as you can. I always tell people this. Just Steve, you have a thought?
The weird thing is right now you cannot swipe right as much as you want.
Why not? What does that mean?
Unless you have the upgraded version, which you have to pay for.
See, it's always been a scam.
It's always restricted.
Outsider ain't paying for
How much is it? How much is it?
It's $9.99 a month for unlimited swipe rights.
That's $120 a year for you to fire on everyone again, from Brockton, Mass. To AC, New Jersey. Like, we're talking about a multi-state net that you're going to cast to say, hey, ladies, I have my shirt off and I'm Outsider Mike and I'm friends with Rob Gronkowski and he told me to say crazy stuff. So, see that? But it's
so Gronkowski told Outsider that Outsider was too picky.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I don't know.
Are you?
Probably. I mean, I never had a problem with too many swipe rights. I mean, I'll sit down and maybe swipe right once or twice a day, if that.
It is Connecticut, so
yeah,
maybe just by the numbers, the selections are fewer.
Oh, okay. I thought when you said it's Connecticut, you mean that only ugly women live here.
I would never say such a thing.
Okay, well, I want to make that clear. That's just Steve, who does not think that Connecticut is a state full of ugly women. It's just that there aren't that many of them.
The dating pool is smaller here.
Right. We want to clarify that. So, I think that there are a lot of gems there, Outsider, for you to work with. I think
if I could put somehow a picture of us together. Hopefully there is a picture of us together.
You and Rob?
Yeah. Put that on my Tinder.
There were 55 people behind the glass taking pictures of everything that happened. Somebody has some kind of a video. a picture or whatever. We'll get that done.
If I can attach the audio, I think maybe
Collectively, we'll buy you the app. It's $120 a year. I'm personally, I give you $100 one day to go on a shopping spree.
Pocket, yeah.
Just because I felt badly. I mean, I'm telling you, I'll fund this so that you can just swipe. You just sit there and just swipe until you can't swipe anymore. You know? Then once you get the ball rolling, then be picky. I want you to be picky then. But again, remember, in life, you want to cast a wide net. I just mean in life, for people. You want to just catch as many things as you can, and then you sort it out from there. People, contacts, things, you know.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah. I mean, who are we to be picky? All right. I'm glad we did that. Important work being done here on SVP and Russillo.
SVP and Russillo.
I'll just finish where I started today, which was just saying thanks again. Ryan's heading out to Chicago, so he won't be on the show these next couple of days, which I suppose is better because I won't, sitting here looking at him, feel as compelled to contemplate the end, but you all have continued to share these messages, which by all means send them. I'm trying to respond to some. I can't respond to all, that's all I do. I'd never stop. But if I've responded to your tweet or if I haven't, either way I've read them, and they matter, and they're appreciated, and this is an intimate forum, radio, and you choose to hang out with the people that you want to hang out with, and so many of you have said that you feel like we're your friends, and we're not because we don't like you, but we might if we did, if we met you. I'm kidding, not really, but mostly. You know what I mean. But anyway, this is the last time I want to do this because otherwise it'll just mentally be too taxing, and I'll get sideways emotionally, and I'm no good with that. So again, finally, I'm sure before the end I'll say it again, but thank you.
Earlier today on SVP and Russillo.
It's gold. It's what it is. It's gold. It's two titans of industry, two of the more eligible bachelors in the New England area, if not the United States. Two sizzling hot personalities, two colossal intellects, sitting down to just chop it up and talk about the fairer sex, Tinder tips. It was Outsider Mike and Gronk, and this is where Gronk tried to explain that Outsider needed to widen his horizons.
I mean, we're both celebrities, kind of. You know, maybe people may not recognize you. How do you approach the chicks? And when you know you're a celebrity, but maybe they don't, follow the Patriots. They don't follow ESPN or whatever.
Man, I mean, I think every lady should know who you are. Are you sure? I think your problem is you're a little too picky. You got to hit the swipe right button for every single one.
A couple of things there on further review. It's subtle, where you say maybe you're a celebrity, but they don't follow the Patriots. What you're really saying is you think you're a celebrity, but they're not familiar with SVP and Russillo. Is that really what you're kind of saying?
That's exactly what I was saying.
Okay, good. I want to clarify that for my own edification here. How do you broach that topic with the ladies? What do you say? Hey, I work on the show, and yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. You don't reference Twitter followers, do you? You don't try to use that as some barometer of your fame or value as a human, right?
If I thought it would work, maybe.
So that's not beneath you.
No.
What are you up to now?
I think I'm closing in on 14 or 15K.
I'm going to look it up right now. Outsider Mike. You think? Dude, you're a tick away from 16,000.
Amazing. Remember, I was thrilled to have 100 that one day.
I remember it was, again, it's one of the many highlights in the book. The go down memory lane here. You think about the fun stuff that you did. McConaughey, Damon, laughs, chuckles with other famous guys like us, right? And then there was that day that we decided that the number of followers you had was paltry. It was unacceptable. And in a week, Cerruti, you left him so far in your rearview mirror. I mean, he's a nobody. And I like him. Cerruti is our guy. But hey, he ain't talking out. He's not talking to Gronk about Tinder tips, is he?
They call him Roots now in the morning.
Roots?
Yeah.
God.
He got a laptop.
Whatever. He didn't talk to Gronk. Get Tinder tips.
No.
Roots?
Yep.
Okay. He moving down to New York City?
I don't know yet.
Old Roots?
Hair's getting kind of long, though.
Yeah, he's growing it out for the summer. I'm not mad at him. He's a great guy. Really like him a lot. But, I mean, he's a nobody in the Twitter world. Outsider Mike greater than Roots on Twitter.
Doesn't help, though.
Miguel Cabrera leads the Detroit Tigers into Anaheim to face Mike Trout and the Los Angeles Angels. The pregame's at 7 Eastern, followed by first pitch at 8, Sunday on ESPN2 and on ESPN Radio.